I think Dr. Ibrahim, we can get started. Just maybe intro people can join us.
Okay, good morning, everyone, once again, and we hope you had a fruitful week. You went through the introduction to machine learning, first week, the introduction, history, and all of that. Today we have, okay, Shamsu, do you want to say something? Today we have a lot to cover. I'll try to keep us as fast as I can. You are free to slow me down if you can't understand what I'm saying. And then I'm using two different networks. As you know, sometimes we do have challenges of network. So if you can't hear me, quickly call my attention so I can switch to a different line. So today we'll be talking about uh, something different from programming or machine learning. Many of you have been submitting your Medium posts or other blogs, and sometimes we need to take a look to read through what you've written, and I'm fascinated by how well many of you are writing. I am so much impressed with that. But as you have, we all know that there is always room for improvement. So today, my discussion will be based on how you can improve your writing skills. Because most of you here are students, and then as students, you will be writing and writing a lot, and then you need to write well to be able to convey the information that you have. So my talk will be centered around this. Initially, I had no plan of um, preparing any slides. I just wanted to come and talk. We can have a general discussion, all of us, chat, whatever, share. Because not be surprised, we have people here who can write amazingly, so we can just discuss, share ideas, maybe do some breakout rooms. But then I remembered I have a class that I took, I think 2 years or thereabout, a workshop about academic writing. I remember I have a slide for it, so I just said maybe let's go through that. So what I will be trying to present now is something I think I presented 2 hours for 2 days, so making 4 hours. So I'll try to speak all of that. So kindly uh, uh, bear with me if I'm too fast. Most of these things you are already familiar with them, but it never occurs to you. So, but then when you have them, then you'll think, oh yeah, that's it. Uh, I will share the slides with you, but I may need to do some tweaks on it after this office hour. So I don't know how long that will take. So now I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Just a person can, no person can. Huh? Can you see my screen? And am I audible? Okay.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
You are both. We can see your screen and you're audible.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. So this is what we'll be going through. It's about 80 slides or thereabout. It's quite huge, I know. But before that, let's quickly uh, look at something. This one. I will take just 5 minutes to talk about this, about plagiarism. Um, and what is it, and then how do we avoid plagiarism. This I will be speaking for only 5 minutes. It's all related to what I will be speaking later on. That's why I have a different start for it, but it's equally very important, and we may have a time that we will come and do a workshop specifically regarding plagiarism. plagiarism occurs when you use the words, thoughts, or ideas of someone with to support your claim, and then you don't properly cite them and source. So it means anytime, in academic writing, um, for anything that you did not conduct a research on, then you need to read from others, record from others, and then you cite them. So anytime that you take an idea from somebody, even if it's an inspiration, then you need to properly cite them. You are not supposed to copy. Do not copy word by word from somebody else. For example, we tell you to go and write a Medium page blog about something, or thereabout, then you go and copy definition of pandas, for example, or thereabout from Wikipedia or there about, and then you paste it. This is copied, and then you are not supposed to do that. It's wrong. If you want to publish your work, that will not be acceptable, and then you can get into a lot of trouble. You can feel a cost if you are an assignment if you are caught doing plagiarism. So you need to cite the source that you take it. But then, even if you cite, you need to paraphrase because you are getting that idea from somebody. So you need to use your own words. That is what paraphrasing means. You use your own words. So it's writing a specific passage or text from someone else. It's written in your own words without changing the original meaning or removing any information. So whenever you read a document that you think this can go into your work, your passage, your text, your assignment, then you need to paraphrase that text, write it in your own words, and then you acknowledge the source. Then you can have it in your own document and takes your name as an author because you paraphrase it and then you acknowledge the source. Some of you may ask, many of the things we are doing in this course, like the 30 days of Python, um, even this machine learning course, we adopted it from somewhere else. Is that not plagiarism? So anytime you take a content from somebody and you do not claim ownership at all, even if you, as long as you conform with the terms of sharing, for example, it's shared on what, based on what license, Creative Commons, is it free? Can you do that? Then that's not plagiarism because you did not claim ownership. What is not wanted is to have your, for example, blog posts, you have your name on it and you write a lot of text and most of that text you copied them from somewhere else and you did not paraphrase or cite. That is plagiarism. But if you put the text there and then you did not claim any ownership of that, you properly acknowledge all of that, then that's not plagiarism. So how do you avoid plagiarism? This is 6 steps. I really wished we have time. You could have tried this. You read the text carefully. You note down the key concepts. Then you write down the version of your text without looking at the original text. After you read it, you read text many times, like 10, 20 times, to understand carefully what that text is trying to convey. Then you write down the key concepts. Then you keep away the original text. You don't look at it. If it's a browser, you close it. You go back to your Word document, and then you write down in your own words. After that, then you compare the original text that you have and what you've written. Why do you need to do that? To know that, are you saying the same thing? You do not change the meaning of what the author, because it's also very, very wrong to paraphrase somebody and write what he did not mean and then cite him. Yes, you cannot do that. So you have to confirm that your paraphrase text is carries the same meaning with that of the original text, and then you did not copy a lot of words that are inside. That also will become an accidental plagiarism. Then you paraphrase, you rephrase phrases that are identical from the original text, and then you cite your source according to appropriate reference system. This is also something that we could have done about reference systems to show you how you will do that. We'll see what next. Then we have a few examples. For example, the original text highlights spanned years of incredible change for women as they gained rights, as they gained more rights than ever before. So she lived through an exciting era of women's liberation. These two phrases are basically meaning the same thing, but if you can see them, they are written using uh, different words. And then giraffes like acacia leaves and hay, and they can consume 75 pounds of food a day. The giraffe can eat up to 75 pounds of acacia leaves and hay daily. So the same with this. And then our last example, any trip to Italy should include a visit to Tuscany to sample the region's specific. Mind the example wines. Be sure to take time for the Tuscan wine tasting experience when visiting Italy. So these are just a few examples. We'll uh, talk more about plagiarism and how you can paraphrase, possibly have a workshop where you'll be given maybe abstracts or sentences from actual paper, then we'll tell you to paraphrase, and then your group breakout rooms, you can discuss among yourself on why the paraphrasing is good or not, and then what you can teach and all of that. We'll see how we'll do that. I'll not be asking if you have any question at the moment. I want to be finished with all of this before we can come back to the question and discussion. And I would love to hear from many of you regarding your experience, and then if you have any tips for other fellows. So principles of effective writing. We are starting with a quote from Sir William Osler. In science, the credit goes to the man who convinces the world and not the man who the idea first occurs. So it's not what you discovered, it's not about all the research, all the beautiful things you do if you cannot convey it properly to the world. You may do some fancy things, but if you are not good at communicating, somebody may take credit for that. Yes, so basically this is what this quote is meaning, is just emphasizing on the how good it is to know how to write and write well. Um, if some of you, if one of you or any of you that is, you can tell us later, one of the popular physicists, I don't know who it is, Albert Einstein or one of them, a very popular physicist that made a discovery about some of the technology that we are using right now at the moment, but he submitted his thesis several regarding that, and he said it's more of a fiction than reality because he's a bad writer. I can't remember who exactly it is, but it's a physicist. If you know, please, you can put it down in the chat so that we can discuss. But then it took time before he was able to convince the world of his discovery, and then accepted. So writing is an art, but when it is writing to inform, it comes from being a science as well. So what we're looking at is what makes a good writing. What does it take to be a good writer? So good writing communication and idea clearly and effectively. So first of all, whenever you want to write, you need to have something to write. So don't just write because you want to write. For example, now we will tell you write blog posts. So don't quickly rush to start writing because you have a deadline to submit. You want to progress to the other next level. It normally comes with do something. Go through to this lesson, read it, understand, then synthesize what you've understood in a medium or in your blog. So you have something to write. Then you write. Don't just write for the sake of writing. So good writing is elegant and stylish. So understand that you cannot rush writing. It takes time. You need to revise, and then you need to edit. Your first draft is always bad. Don't just write and then push it there. Sometimes I do receive a lot of submissions from students, knowing that nobody has, even the students themselves have not read uh, the document, the text for a second time. If they have read, they could have catch some mistake that they made, and then yeah, they will be penalized for that. So anytime you want to write, take your time, write, leave it for some time, read it, read again, improve it, then it becomes a good writing. So what a good writer, uh, inborn talent, but I don't want to talk much about this. Some people are just talented, right? But that's not always the case. Many good writers are good writers because they practice, they go over, and then they write. That is a popular quote that says, "When you want to be a writer, then write." You will start writing poorly, but then as time goes on, you improve. Years of English and humanities classes, artistic nature, influence of all this is rubbish. Uh, what makes a good writer? Having something to say, logical and clear thinking, a few simple learnable rules of style. So then, what you have to keep in mind, writing is a craft, not an art. So anybody can be a good writer. A good writer. All you need to do is to learn. You need to continue doing it. You improve yourself, then you can learn. So these points are very important. Points to become a good writer: read, pay attention, and then imitate. Talk about your research before writing about it. So don't just that is what we normally do. When ideas come to you, you quickly write them down so that you don't forget them. So that is writing your ideas down, just bullet points somewhere because they can easily evaporate. But then when you want to write for convene, then talk about it, think about it, have some like that, so that you will have a better idea of what to write, and then you develop a process habit, meaning you have to refer to the library, thinking about the best words for that. Don't use a list of good words that what you use when you want to say some things. Then you respect your audience. Don't write things that are not interesting, no matter how important your research is. If you are boring, then you are not respecting your audience. They may be interested, but then they will not appreciate reading your work. And then don't wait for inspiration to say I need inspiration. Then you'll spend ages without writing anything. Don't wait for inspiration. Inspiration comes when you write. Accept writing is hard for everyone, so don't wait for it to get easier. It's difficult for everybody. You do it by doing, and then you revise. Nobody gets perfect on the first try. I've said this before. You revise and then learn how to. Maybe some student will tell us this more of this. We're talking about is it called declutter? Many of us get attached to words. We like to use a lot of words, and then when we write text, we don't want to do away with the words. So you need to just cut everything that's unnecessary. We'll see a lot about cutting and cutting and cutting. And then find a good editor. Don't just say you write, then you find somebody that can help you edit your writing. So clear writing starts with clear thinking. Before you start writing, ask yourself, what are you trying to see? When you know what you're going to say, then you will know what you are writing. And then when you finish writing, then ask yourself, have you conveyed the message that you want from it? So once you are so this lesson, strip your senses to just words that tell. What does my words that tells? Those that are important. Any word that, and you see a lot of this today, words that are not necessary in your work, you have to remove them. So the secret of good writing is to strip every sentence to its cleanest components. Every word that serves no function, every long word that could be short word, every adverb that carries the same meaning that's already in the verb, every passage construction that leaves the reader unsure of who is doing what. These are thousands and alerts that weaken the strength of a sentence. They usually occur in proportion to the education around. This is a
So we cannot hear you.
Hi everyone. I think Dr. Ibrahim might have internet issue at this point in time. So yeah, so we can see he has internet issue. So let me take over before he comes back with some points that I wanted to discuss before he got back to his internet. So he is asking, talking about writing. So one thing I want to point out is we ask you to write something weekly. what do you learn about the machine learning, about the course content. So we are not asking you to write a lot. Now, as you start writing, if you are not good at writing, you have not been writing, you can start small. For example, in the last week of, last chapter of this week, we had like techniques of machine learning, supervised, unsupervised, or something like that. We are not asking you to write the whole thing. You can even take a small, what is supervised learning, and write a very well-crafted content on supervised learning, right? We are not asking you to go and write very long blog posts, but rather to write something meaningful, something that will, make you think, something that will improve your writing skills, not to just go and copy something from somewhere else, go and paste it to make sure your blog posts look very rich, with rich content. No, even if you write something that, thought-provoking, even if it is 5 paragraphs, provided you think, you write from your top of your memory, from top of your mind, that's perfectly okay. We are not asking you to, write something lengthy, but we're asking you to just, work your brain, work with your brain to, process the information and write something good. So please take note, we are not asking you to write something lengthy, something, that, okay. Another point I want to mention is that consistency. So if you write this week, maybe you write 5 paragraphs, 6 paragraphs, the next week you can increase, consistency. So that consistency builds your habit. We become master of everything through consistency and building habit. If you read Atomic Habit, one good book, you can know that. So yeah. And finally, one good thing is when you becomes now very, you write well, you craft something good, you can even make money from Medium. You know what I mean? In Medium blog posts, you can make money. And finally, what we envisage is that at the end of this program, you have a very well crafted content, which will serve as portfolio for your CV. So now if you're applying some course in machine learning, you put this, I write blog posts, Medium, and you know what? Your prospective employer, seeing you have been writing, oh, you are PhD survivor, oh, master, you have been writing, let me go and see what this, prospective student, his writing skills, his, experience in machine learning. So when he goes there and he see you write very well, and you have a very good, some stuff. So you have a good portfolio. So put this in mind, that what you are writing for something for your future. That's something that will work for you. You are building the road for you to, graduate school or something like that. So feel free, please, to, start small. Don't feel overwhelmed that you need to write a very lengthy blog post. 5 paragraphs, 6, on something small, and you increment next, and yeah. So this is the point I want to raise. I think Dr. Ibrahim is back. So let me leave him to continue. Thank you. Dr. Ibrahim, you can go on.
Okay, can you see my screen, Shamsu?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, apologies, I didn't know what happened. I kept talking, and then I don't know what happened. I was offline completely. So in essence, you have to cut down all unnecessary words. You have to cut and cut. Probably more will be said about this. So some of these words are not important, and then you have to keep mind in them. It's not all the time that they're important, and then you can just do away with them very really quite basically generally. Yeah, most of times they are repetition. These words are seldom add anything, rarely add anything useful. Try the sentence without them and see if it improves. So words like this, they just make your word to be verbose. Then there is you can read more on that. Watch out for the verb to be, the be, and all its variants. They often make our text verbose that we don't need. I have examples of them in coming slides. So often there are is an extra which in many instances that you have there are, most of the time you don't need it at all. You can write the word in a way that you don't need that. For example, there are many students who like writing. So you can just say many students like writing. So in most instances, when you have there are, it's just a dead weight. You don't need it. You can write it in a better way. So example of dead weight phrases that you should avoid. except, all of these things are just guidelines. They are not hardcore rules. So there may be rare cases that you extremely need them. But in many instances, you don't need them. So you can just do away with them in the event. In the nature, it has been estimated that it seems that the point I'm trying to make, what I'm trying to see, it may be argued. So when you are writing, you can avoid these deadweight phrases because they make your text unnecessarily long and then and difficult for the reader to follow. And then even without them, the reader will be able to comprehend what you are trying to see. And then we have this clunky phrases. Instead of saying all the three, you can say the three. Fewer in number. Most of the times when we say few, we are just referring to number. Give rise to, cause in all cases, always in a position. Things like this, you can refer to the slide later on. And this is very common. The last one, in order to, you can just say to. I'm speaking in order to convey. You can just say I'm speaking to convey. It means the same thing, but then you have longer words. So you take note of them. And you can see these are very common in our text, in the text that we write. And then beware of, with the possible exception, you can just say except due to the fact that, because for the purpose, and more examples that you can go through, because I want many of us to be part of today's discussion. All of this. So constantly to be on the lookout for extra words, and then you can just remove them, crop them like weeds. They are unnecessary. They are just harming your text. Ask yourself, is the word or phrase necessary? What happens if you take it out? Many a time, just take it out and see what happens to the text. Does it still make sense? You realize it's better. Don't say that I want to write 100 pages, I must write 100 pages, or I want to write a complete page. It doesn't matter if your text is short, as long as you convey your message perfectly. That is the most important point. And you want your readers to be interested. So the more you write, the less interested they will be, and the less likely is that they will read through your entire text. You want to hold readers, retain your readers. So when they start reading the first paragraph of your text, you want them to go to the end. If you write with a lot of jargon, then nobody will read the whole of your text. And as some that I had when I came back, you can get a lot of money out of that. So you want people to read, and then you have to write well. So don't be afraid. Cut, learn to cut. Don't be afraid. Cut. Be vigilant and be ruthless after investing much effort. Yeah, you see that you've wasted so much time, or you committed so much time in writing, then you don't want to do away with what you will do more damage by leaving them. So it's better just cut them. Okay, for example, brain injury incidence shows 2 peak periods in almost all reports. Rates are highest in young people and elderly people. Brain injury incidence peaks in the young and elderly. You can see the number of words that are cut down. So just be ruthless and cut down what you want. Okay, another guideline. Number 3. Now we are back to we are in sentences. We finish with the words. Is try as much as you can to use active voice instead of passive voice, because active voice is more engaging, and it conveys information in a better way. So it is in the form of your subject, verb, object. I hope you all remember your English grammar from Sunday school. Subject, verb, object. So in passive voice, the subject is acted upon. The subject of your sentence is the one that is acted upon. The verb is on him. The subject doesn't act. So in passive, is the form is usually, previously I said you have to try to avoid the verb to be. So in passive voice, you are always dealing with to be. We have examples ahead. So if you are confused with the verb to be, you will come to it. The main verb must be transient. So always try to use active voice. She is loved. This is an example. She is loved is in active voice. The direct object, which is verb, she is not the subject since she's not the one doing the loving. is a form of to be, and then love is a past participle of verb, which evokes the question, who is loving? So that is a question. In this sentence seems to be not complete. Look at this example. Instead, President Kennedy was shot in 1993. This is also form of to be, was shot, because this is a form of to be. The word is a form of to be, and then was is also a form of to be. So there will be a question, who shot him, if you use a sentence like this. But if we go down the active one, we have Oslo shot Kennedy in 1993. So you can see 1993, we don't have is, we don't have was, we don't have been, we don't have be, which are all forms of to be. So you all try to minimize them in your writing. This AWL means outside without leave. For example, if you work in any place when you are not going to come, you are sick, you have to seek for leave permission. So this sentence is taken from a very popular book, Sin and Syntax. It's an English book on grammar and other stuff related to English. And then he used this meaning that when you use passive voice, is in the form of the agent is absent without leave. Am I audible? I hope so. Somebody just called me.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I think I'm back. Somebody just called my line, so it disconnected my network. So AWOL means absent without leave. Is when, for example, somebody in a place of work decided not to come and then he did not ask for leave. In sentences, it means when you are in passive voice, you have your subject coming first. For example, e.g., mistake were made. Who made the mistake? So you see, this is just an example. For example, you have this is just an example, for example, of agent without leave. But if you have the president made mistakes, so the sentence seems complete. So and other examples, cigarette ads were designed to appeal especially to children, and then by this we designed, the we is responsible, so you don't have a question hidden within that. So example about being more example about active and passive. My son visit Boston. My first visit to Boston will always be remembered by me. And then I will always, the active voice, I will always remember my first visit to Boston. And then to turn your passive voice back to active voice, ask who does what to whom, so that you can have all your complete, except if you don't know who did the action. And these are examples, you can go over them. And then we have image that people thinking that passive voice is more objective. It's not more objective, it's just more vague, more difficult to understand, and it leads to asking more questions instead of providing answers. This is another example that you can go over. The active voice is direct, vigorous, natural, and informative. Okay, and this I've also said before, in order to breaking the rules, most writing rules are guidelines, not laws, and can be broken when it's necessary. There is an example. When the action of the sentence is more important than who did it, then it's important. For example, 3 liters of fluid is filtered. You see, it's filtered. This is a form of to be through porous glass. So here we are more interested about the we are more interested about who did the action rather than the person that did it. This is mostly when you are writing your research methodology aspect of your research, then probably you may need to use a bit of passive voice, but notwithstanding, do that with caution and do only when it's necessary. Use of strong verbs. We'll have examples. Most of the times, this is also a guideline. People tend to understand or appreciate what you are trying to say when you use strong verbs instead of silent ones or ones that are not very pronounced. A sentence uses one or more verb to convey its action. Without the verb of the sentence, without a verb, a sentence will collapse. Most of the times, the verb is the engine that drives the sentence. Dull, lifeless verbs slow the sentence down. Action verbs reflect the action the way they choosing. So, meaning we just need strong verbs. This example: loud music comes from speakers embedded in the walls, and the entire arena moved as hungry cargo got to its feet. And then you can see here we have loud music exploded instead of came from. Came from is still a verb, but it's not as strong as exploded. The moment you hear exploded, it's a strong verb. And then we have shook, and then we have leaped. All these are strong verbs, and then they are also encouraged in academic writing. Strong verbs carry the main idea of the sentence and sweep reader along. So the moment you are using strong words, the reader will be interested in seeing what happens. And then, so these are examples of to be verbs: is, are, was, were, been, am. Any sentence that have these verbs, it says that it's have a form of to be. And then you try to avoid sentences or phrases that have these verbs, because usually your sentence may be in passive voice. So that's why the convention says you go on to be that. There are many ways in which we can arrange petri dishes. Then we can arrange the petri dishes in many ways. This example, another one, there was a long line of bacteria on the plate. Bacteria lined the plate. All the forms have a form of to be. Okay, and then don't kill your verbs and adjectives by turning them into nouns. In these examples, we can see that we have verbs that are with verbs: obtain, provides, take an. All this has seen. All these are verbs, but we call them with verbs. And then estimates, in this first sentence, because of this addition of s, it has been turned to a noun, right? This expansion is a noun form of has expanded, and just even from those has expanded, it's more vigorous, it's more revealing. So you have to be careful not to turn your verbs to noun, and okay, not to don't kill your verbs and then don't and adjectives by turning them into nouns. This is example of, aside from converting your verbs to noun, also of verbosity. Provide a review of, you can just say review is a stronger verb, because the moment you say provide a review, you are hiding the word review amongst other sentences. Offer confirmation of, confirmation is a noun form of confirm. Make a decision is also a noun form of decide. And then show a pick than fix. So you can go over these examples. Okay, and then finally, eliminate negatives. Use positive constructs instead. Negatives like not. So he was not often on time. So this is in the negative form. It's more returning to the user when you don't use negatives. You can just say he usually come late. Then she did not think that studying writing was a sensible use of one's time. She's just studying writing was a waste of time. You see, you avoid using not, you avoid using negatives in your sentences. And then these are words that you can use instead, or you can just change your sentence altogether as you've done in the first sentence. And then we have use of parallel construction. This is also very, very important, and something that we often forget or neglect. When we have more than one phrases in our sentence or in our paragraph separated by comma or whatever, but they are linked, then you have to write them in the same order, in the same manner, using the same kind of guidance. When you select how you want to write them, then you have to stick and do all of that. For example, of unparalleled, low-cost banana fields in Utah, rural Iowa was washed away by torrents. You see, these are sentences. And in Arizona, because this sentence trying to reveal the effects of flooding, but then the sentences are not in the same manner. So see the correct version of it, or the better version of it, because the noun there fields in Utah. This is in past tense. Then torrents wash away in Iowa, also in past tense, and then blazing heat revealed Arizona's cotton, all in the same manner instead of unparalleled. This may be confusing, and maybe it's confusing to the readers. So you have to use parallel, meaning you have to write all your sentences in the same manner. So make a choice and abide by it. Pairs of ideas, two ideas joined by and or but or even comma should be written in parallel form. Cardiac input decreased by 40%, but cardiac pressure only by 10%. Another example, we hoped to increase the response and improve survival. So this is an imperfect phrase that doesn't have end. So my apologies, a comment came in, cut me for a minute, and we have more examples. You can go over them after I shared the slides. And this is okay. This is exercises I give after my class. We don't have to do them now, but then you just or you can do them later. And then the final exercises or questions, what I did with phrases, examples of did with phrases, and then you define active and passive voice. And this is the end of this. I'll stop sharing. Okay, I'll go over to the first slide. I'll look at the chat if we have questions.
Okay, Dr. Ibrahim. I think from the chat right now, we don't have question.
We don't have questions.
Yeah, but I think we can be able to take questions after. But let me quickly share my screen to show us, because some people find it difficult to have access to the Notion page. I don't know what's the problem, but if we still have this issue, we can just use Google Doc to share. So what you're doing is this Notion page is contains our program and to do and whatsoever. If you look at this one here, we already finished stage 1. We are now in stage 2, machine learning. You see here we have set up our recording for the first session, our curricula, and here is the link for where you can put your weekly Medium blog post. So if you click here and open it, you will see where you can write your name and whatsoever. And now here we already explained this, how to begin machine learning stage, how to do the stuff to submit assignment, how to run the content repository locally so that you don't actually need to be always online. We already did this one in our first session, but most importantly is weekly we will be writing the office hours content, what we discuss, and also so you see in week 1 this is expectation. You read this stuff in week 1. And this is office hour. So what I want to say is this is what Dr. Ibrahim discussed today, and we'll share the slide and whatsoever if you like. But a part of this curriculum, machine learning, because we want to strengthen your skills for writing. The same way you register for machine learning how to learn in Coursera, you need to finish, register this course called Writing in Science. This is a very, very good course and well recommend. I mean, I recommend this very well to everyone, even if you are not in our fellow and you want to improve your skills for writing and whatsoever. When I started doing my PhD, first year, I took this course and it really helped me to know how to write, so I really encourage us to, from today, register on this, try to finish it because it's not something difficult. It's just telling you how to write. And I read all this book on writing, all what Dr. Ibrahim was saying, I believe is coming from, I think, or writing well or writing. Yeah, they are from here. I highly recommend, and also this element of style. If you are, if you are writing, you may know this one. This is one of the, well-known book in writing in English, Element of Style by William Strong White. So what I'm saying is, yeah, I mean, if you want to be on top of what you are doing, you need to write, you need to read. There is no escape way that you want to be based, you want to, be on top without reading. So reading, we should inculcate this culture of reading, even if it's something, that seems, somebody will say, why will I read book on writing? Why, but believe me, if you read this book, you will, get better at writing. But most importantly, you will not get better until you write. So yeah, so this is in science, and also these are some book if you like, but this is necessary part of our program. Let me write it. And these are optional. Yeah, I mean compulsory. Sorry, compulsory. And these are optionals. Reading if you like, you can, but highly encourage. Apart from this, would like to ask question about Telegram. Some people were asking like, can they invite other people to join? Yes, feel free, share the Telegram link to other people, let them join the group, and let them learn with us. This is open, and only that they are not fellow will not be, because we will not track. It's not necessary for them to submit assignment, to do whatsoever. So we not track them, so we'll not give them certificate of that end. Another thing is the face. We want to receive now your feedback on, we know we are Muslims, and now it is Ramadan period, and some people already raise concern that they have a lot to do. We also know that the ladies they do cooking and stuff like that. But what's your feedback on now on the first week? Was it heavy? Was it so-so, or was it something that we can cop and continue? Because we know we have different people with different schedule, different activities. So yeah, I will leave this open now, the window for people. Oh, okay, yeah. So sorry, I know some of us here, we have a lot of Muslims that they observe fasting this period, and they raise concern. But we should also acknowledge that some of us here are not Muslims, so it is fine. We need to take all both angles to consider those that are fasting. So let me open the flow now to people to give their feedback on the learning. I mean, was it good? So the first one, I want to know the learning experience, not about the fasting or Ramadan. What can you say about the content? What can you give feedback that we need to improve on the content first week after you read? If you have feedback, you can raise up your hand. And
for those writing on chat, please try to write a complete sentence so that it will be easier for us to understand what you are trying to communicate.
Yeah, Said, go on. Said, go on.
Thank you, Prof. My question is going to Dr. Ibrahim. With the advent of this chat GPT, I don't know, how do we track plagiarism in this contemporary research era?
I think, okay, thank you very much, Said. It has been nice hearing you. I will answer after we finish so that we don't get mixed up. Let's take the feedback, then I will go ahead and answer that.
Yes, Mubarak, now go on, Mubarak.
Okay.
Sorry, so
Good morning,
Mubarak,
sir.
let me put this. Sorry, let me put this. So, okay, go
Okay.
on, Mubarak.
Okay, so my own is regarding the content organization. So unlike the 30 days of Python, the content are well structured, but I find it a little bit difficult navigating around the way the content are organized on this particular course. I don't really know if there is a way, for example, for each week, we now highlighted the expected learning, just like the way you did for the last week, that we know that these are the required learning, so that even for some of us that are learning on Microsoft Learn, we could be able to just follow up based on the content, even on those that are not on the repository. Thank you.
Okay, good. So, we will update. One thing we will be doing, which I started it, is yes, we'll put the expected stuff to be read each day. This will be taken care of. Each day we'll post what is expected to be read, because I know there are many stuff. Also, there are many referrals in the contents. There are some stuff that you don't need to go for them, but you need to watch the video about the learning in that content and follow the lecture notes. All the links that you go, they are not necessary, but we'll take care of this. This is a very good comment. We will, try to improve that. I'm not sure also if you already install you run it locally on your computer, or how do you go about it? Because you said you find it difficult. How do you read it? How do you follow the content? Now, if you want to read like the last week, history of machine learning, how do you do it? You read over the internet or you read offline?
So I read online because I am always connected to the internet. So
Fine.
I read. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so we'll take this one into account, and yeah, any other one?
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
So good morning. I think with regards to the course content and structure, the course was designed for general purpose, like usage, and I think we give the link to where we adopted the course. But to be safe, I think on the README on the course page contains the link specifically to what you are expected to learn. So if you click on the table, I think there is a table for week 1, week 2, week 3, and the rest. So if you click on the link to that particular lesson, it will take you directly to where you go. And I think Dr. already even made this simpler, that you don't need to start clicking on all of the links that refers you to outside, let's say, curriculum, or give you additional information. If you finish that and you have enough time to consult other sources that are provided in there, and even additionally somewhere, you can do that. But then that link, if you click on it, it will take you to the README page of the course or the curriculum or the content that you are expected to know at that point. because there are other files that might not be that relevant to you. So just click on the link, and wherever it takes you, that's where you are supposed to read. Yeah.
Okay, any other person?
Let me share my screen to show some bit. Yes, somebody raised up, Abdurrahman raised up his hand. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, wa alaikum salam.
Okay. My question is regarding to one of the assignments there in those daily assignments. There is a place where you made mention to create the timeline. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, you asked to create a timeline, and that timeline is like a line creation, as you have given the example there. As you have given the example to follow. So I find a bit difficult to create that timeline. How can I go about it?
Yeah, thank you very much. So we already made mention that the first week, there are many stuff like, they are not part of machine learning. It needs some kind of experience of wave.
Right.
And that one, is expected, like, what we learn in the 30 days of Python. You should have the skills of Python that you can navigate, to try to see that you reproduce a program, because it's quite straightforward. They already explained everything in the repo. You just need to go, and it is optional, not necessary for us. If you are part, you can, for you to get the skills, you can follow. But I think we will have it in. So one of these kind of thing is one of things we want to our helpers. Our helpers will help. So we will see our helpers, and so that they can, show us how we can reproduce this stuff. That's good, stuff. So you can see here we have our content here. I already mentioned how we can, follow. Can you see my screen all? Yeah, I already mentioned how we can follow or read this last week, the order we can follow. For example, if I want to do study techniques of machine learning, here I can just come here, techniques, and now I start, going to do it. And, you can see there are many sections, the quiz, whatsoever. If you go down here, challenge, free quiz, assignment, self-study. So you can see this self-study is self-study, if you like. If you take this one, it will take you somewhere else. You don't need to finish this one as self-study. But if you have time, you want to improve your skills, you can go and do that. And now, what are the orders you need to do? If you come here, these are the order you need to follow. For example, you need to start the free quiz, read the lecture note, text for quiz, complete the challenge, complete assignment after, so these are the order you need to do. And each lesson has some optionals, optional sketch, optional this and stuff. And we already mentioned also as well that you can run this stuff, using Duxfly. You don't need to always, if you don't have internet connection, you can run this. So when you have this, so you can see this is locally, it's not on my computer, which we already explained last week how to do this. Now, if we come here, for example, week 1, techniques of machine learning, you can see that here. So this is something locally, you can go over it and go through it, this is it. We noticed the, feedback on, on some of the exercises, as you made mention, and also we noticed on the feedback from Mubarak. You may, if for example, this content we adapted from Microsoft, but it's not exactly from the MySQL. So we edit something, we delete something that is not necessary. So for example, in Microsoft, their machine learning, they don't have this week 2, they don't have this data visualization. So from introduction, it just jumps into regression. So this is part of their data science stuff. We feel like this is something that we can, so it's good that you know that it's not like direct stuff. So we edit, put together, yeah. And also here, I forget here, this relational data and not relational, we deleted them. It's not part of our own. Our own is, I think, only two things, working with Python and preferring data. I also want to mention that for those who already fork this repository, we do some kind of update. So if you fork this repository, make sure that you do git, okay, I think we haven't done this. I don't know if we did, if you already have fork repository, who can tell us now if you already fork repository and you want to sync it with other, Mubarak has already put that. So if you already, got fork your repository and we edited, because we keep updating the repository. It doesn't mean like if you fork the repository, it is still the way it is. No. Weekly, or try to pull. So you can do git full like this, something like this, git full. Oh, okay, I made some changes. I need to do what we call stashing. So yeah, and don't bother about this. So this one is for you. It will full. So if we did some correction, when you do git full, it will fetch the correction we did and update your content. So that's for those people that are working locally. Yeah, so any other questions? Any other comment, feedback or question?
Hello.
Yes, please.
So about the last week stops, are we going to extend it to that 2 weeks, or we stick to that 1 week?
Which one?
I don't know whether everybody there has completed his on the assignment of that week, because I know we have the outstanding things to perform, and that
Yeah, so
four lessons.
yes. So we have 4 lessons in week 1, and we expect fellows by Sunday to update their GitHub repository. To update the link of what we have shared, so that we know what they have been doing. And you should know, in this coming week, we already understand it's quite heavy. What we have in week 2 is nothing but what we already did in first our Python. You can see it here is working with Python, which is something you already know. So it's not something new. So it's not like keeping you also, but also this is the interesting part, which is working with data, how to do some stuff with Python. But you can see week 2 is not that very heavy. So we understand some of the comments, and so Doctor, you can
we wish it will not be very heavy. We wish.
Yes, it's not heavy, Doctor.
You are seeing it not heavy, but others are seeing it heavy. Others, it's okay.
Yeah.
We can try our best.
Yes, Doctor.
The issue of timing. The timing is very critical, very limited.
Yeah, so there are many stuff. So I understand the point you are coming from, but different people, for us, like the time also for us is very important. We said, for example, this program will be like 4 months, and it's now taking to like going to like 6 months, and we need to finish as well to move on into other stuff. Also, we understand that many people find it, maybe the content too much for them. We will think about this on whether we can reduce the content, or also some of the suggestions we receive that we, for this period, we reduce the weeks, like to do whether 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So we will discuss with the team, and we will get back with the information tomorrow about our solution on how to go about, yeah. So we will consider those suggestions, and we'll have a team meeting and decide how we're gonna go about it. Okay, any other question?
That's about that issue of installing NPH,
Yes.
NPM.
Yes.
I told you that I was trying to install that. Things are not going well for me.
Okay, so maybe you
Are we
can.
going to install? Are we going to install it on the VS Code, or we are going to install it on our
Okay,
computer
so-
directly?
So, did you watch the video recording on how we show how to do the installation?
No.
So you were not here when we show it. So we open our computer, we show how to do the installation, and we show how to start, and we put the recordings. So the first thing
Okay.
you need to do is to watch the recording. So for
Okay.
example, I don't know if my notion, can you see my notion? Can you
Yes,
see my notion?
I can see.
Okay, so here you can see how to run the content repository locally. We put the steps, you do this, you do this, after this, you do this, after this, you do this, after, you can see the steps are well clearly written. We said if you still have issue running locally, watch our recording session on YouTube from this time to explain how to run it. So this is something that we did last week, and
Okay.
anybody that missed this to watch it. So if you watch
Okay.
it and it fails to work, then you can, yeah. So this is
No,
one of the important things. Like if somebody missed the session, and one of the first thing you need to do is to watch the recording.
Okay.
When you watch the recording.
Last week I missed the session. I was watching, but my computer
Okay.
memory is like having
Yeah.
some problem. That was why.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Yes. So any other one with question? Abdullahi Lurwan.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
About the Coursera course,
Yes,
how
please.
do we register the course? Do we need to look for waiver again? Or what?
No, the way, did you finish our first course of Coursera course?
Yes.
The same way you follow that one, that's how you do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I know that please, we are still working on how our office hours work. So the first few weeks in the machine learning course, you can see it is introduction working with data. Like data visualization, they are very light. We'll be having our office hour regularly when we come to machine learning. So really be prepared, like, the office hour, every day we'll have office hour, and we will lead the office hours. So this first week, because of the Ramadan and whatsoever, we keep it the light, and it's not that heavy. Python, we already did them. But when we come to, for example, regression, which is like, the start of machine learning, we'll be having our office hours regularly. And I mean, the plan, you see that it changed. It's not as the way now it's going, like we just leave you to go and watch them, but we'll have, like, very interactive sessions when we started doing the real machine learning. Okay, any other question? Okay, I think we are on top of the hour. We already spent, we added 14 more minutes on, for today. Yeah, so good to see you.
A bit.
Okay,
in regard to Said asked a question, not really a question. He want to have a discussion about
yes,
what is it
yes.
called?
Yes.
ChatGPT and plagiarism and whatever. What I would want to say, and we can all talk about this. I know it's just a discussion. Said is very familiar with this. Plagiarism, I would play plagiarism checkers. Plagiarism is all about being ethical and being a responsible author. So it's not matter of if you can get caught or not. It's about doing the right thing. Plagiarism has existed even before computers were used to detect if you have copied from somebody. So, but in regards to then detection on its own, everything is evolving. We now have language models, open AI chatbot, and that can help you write, that can write, and then they can make it difficult for our traditional conventional plagiarism checkers to identify. But again, they also brought about new ways that we can use. We can improve the platform checkers to also be as intelligent and then to understand what has been written by machine and what has been written by human or thereabout. We can have discussion along this line. This is what I think of it. I don't know
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I want to
So
say
along the line, along the line is all these tools, for example, ChatGPT whatsoever, don't use them as the a solely first place for you to write. Use them as like writing or grammar checker or writing help or something like that. For example, if you want, I want to write something, what is matplotlib, what can do, you don't have to go and just write to the ChatGPT what is it, and when it gives you some stuff and you just copy it. No, go and research what is matplotlib, how you finish everything, write your own stuff, and now when you need to do grammar checker, use all the ChatGPT to check your grammar and improve your writing skills. If you now, because these language models, they do what we call hallucinate. They will give you something which is so, looks so original, looks so good that it is, because of the flow and whatsoever, but it just, make it because the language model learn how to, use statistics to, predict the next one and put something good. So if you don't know what is matplotlib, you don't go and you didn't read about it, you did it, and you just go to ChatGPT, write what is matplotlib. Then ChatGPT will say, okay, matplotlib is a country in, it's a country in Africa, and it has the largest population whatsoever. I'm just giving you an example, right? Because you didn't go and search about what matplotlib, you see that this is well written English, you just copy and paste it. You know what I mean? So ChatGPT and all this, for me, I believe they are just a tool to you can interact with it to improve your writing skills and also to get some insight, but don't rely on them to copy something and do whatever. So nowadays some even journals they acknowledge like you can use these writing tools as a writing aid. For example, some of the top journals, for example, in NLP, they and also Elsevier, they come up with new rule that if you use this language model, ChatGPT whatsoever, write that I use ChatGPT whatsoever as language help, as something like that. So you need to inform, write, at the end of the paper to acknowledge what kind of tools you use. So these kind of tools, I believe they are not going away. They are getting better. We'll be using them in the future. They will become our friends, but just know how to use them ethically, as Dr. Ibrahim said, and don't depend on them, because if you depend on them, like everything you will do, then you will not think, and they will concoct everything and give you. So use them responsibly and use them, as a writing aid to help you to brainstorm and, perfect your skills for writing. Yep. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I really appreciate that feedback.
And also there is another one. If you guys, you are not familiar with that, it's called Bing AI Bing. So maybe it will be helpful for me to show you how this thing works, so that you can, maybe okay, let me open my browser and show you what is called Bing. This kind of.
All right, sir. So while opening it, I just want to also stress a point that was made. There is need for to develop tools that can detect which document or phrase that was generated by human and those ones generated by all these machines. I think getting that tool will go a long way.
These tools are already in existence. For sure, this tool to detect automatically generated content will come sooner or later. But there are existing tools now. They help you to do that. To detect. So if you are doing thesis or whatsoever, like for example, you are an academic student, don't go and copy anything from ChatGPT it gives you and put it in your thesis. Never. don't trust it. Just use it as, you know, as writing help. You know, write your own stuff, go and correct it and get some, you know, insight or whatsoever. So let me show you my screen. Papa. Okay, so maybe my computer.
I think if you want to leave, you can leave. Our time is already over. Then those that are interested can you can
Okay, I
continue
think
having the discussion.
yeah, let's leave it. But my computer, I don't know what's the problem. It's not showing me. Maybe tomorrow. Hey, no, let me show it now. Since other people. But if you we are already on top of the hour, you can leave if you like. But let me show some. Can we see my screen?
Yeah,
you see my screen?
your screen is busy. Your screen is busy.
Okay. Okay, so this is Microsoft Bing Edge, and here you can see that is what is called Bing. So you go and download Microsoft Edge if you don't have, and you register with the Bing. They will put you in a waiting list, and here you can see there are many stuff. You know, so here they even take it further, like, you know, if you want to write something precise, you don't, you know, you want to be it to be accurate or more balanced or more creative. So for example, I said, what is matplot? What is pandas? Can you see that? And I do this. So you can see this is returning the results. So it gives you, like, you know, and even the source where you can see where so this is something good, like it gives you the answer and source. So if it gives you answer, you can click now pandas and go and read more about this to make sure what it gives you the answer is correct or whatsoever. But also you can use this stuff, like for example, if I have some content, I can have this and can say, okay, I have this, I can say revise this or correct grammar here, something like this. If you write your own content, so you can write this correct grammar below or something like just correct grammar is okay. So you can type this. Let's see what it tells us, or you can say update the grammar of the text is correct. So let me write something like this. But you can see expect missing period at the end, but we have missing period, so it suggests us. So let me write something. I visit my friend yesterday. Yes. So you can see I say I visit my friend yesterday and say correct the grammar and improve writing style. And you see, so let's see what something like this. I visited my friend yesterday. Can you see that? Something like that. So you can see here, it uses past present tense verb visit instead of the past tense verb visited. A possible way to correct the grammar and improve the writing is, so you can see, you even learn like what is the problem. You use visit instead of visit. So this is a way you can use, this is one way to use, ChatGPT, all these tools to help you to correct your, as a writing error, but you should not use them like as a first source of, research or some stuff like that. I think we will discuss more. There are a lot to discuss about this, how to write a very good prompt, how to, all this stuff, which will be, so for example, one good thing I like about this ChatGPT, for example, now here, if, okay, let me show you like, a daily trust, something like the daily trust. So for example, I'm reading. So for example, here, maybe you are writing in documents, or maybe Google Doc. And now here, you look at it. Now here I highlighted this. Maybe it's a Google Doc you are writing. So when you are writing here, okay, I think not. Okay, it didn't show. So one good thing I want to tell you is that, for example, you are writing on Google Doc. So when you highlighted something, no, I need to show you this. It will work. Google Doc. Let me show you an example. Oh no. Okay, anyway, you just try. So what I'm saying, if you are working on Google Doc, when you highlighted doc, something text in your document, you will see something pop up here. You see the text that you highlighted here and ask you, what do you want to do with the text? You can say, revise the text. Instead for you to copy this text, like copy and paste, no. When you highlighted it, like this, I highlighted it, you see it automatically appear here without you sending it automatically.